Huh? They're an idol as well? A phrase that I have said out loud more times than I would like to admit because it keeps happening and it keeps catching me off guard. But judging by the enormous amount of flabbergasted comments on the internet, I guess I'm not alone. Idols becoming actors is practically a rite of passage at this point. And some of them have even established themselves quite nicely already on the small and big screens. But are they any good? Today I will be dropping a few names that have either set a solid foot in the K-drama world and used to be idols, or are still very active and have taken on acting as a side quest. I will also be focusing more on newer generation groups and some maybe lesser known names, so no IU or the whole of 2PM in this video. Also stay tuned for an honorable mention in the end that I am really curious about as to whether you knew this one already or not. And since this is a review channel, please expect my personal opinion on all of their acting skills. Starting off with 1/4 of the Chaos Teacher squad from The Absolute Value of Romance, which aired fairly recently. Ta Hak-yeon is also known as N of VIX, the group's leader, main dancer, and vocalist since 2012. VIX is still active, but they have lost a few members along the way, and they have recently started to pick up activities again. Ta Hak-yeon has been acting for over a decade now, and he has been covering a pretty wide range of genres so far. Among many others, he has starred, for instance, in Cheer Up, the one from 2015 and not 2022, Castaway Diva, Bad and Crazy, and most recently, The Absolute Value of Romance, where he took on the role of a math teacher by day and a BL fantasy come to life by night. I personally think he's a pretty good and decent actor. He won't necessarily make you forget how to breathe, but you will start checking if he's in other dramas, and just like that, you have 5 more dramas added to your watch list and wondering where and when and how you're gonna watch them all. Because one rabbit hole apparently is not deep enough. And along comes someone who is still very active in the K-pop world. I am talking about ATEEZ's main dancer, Tong Yoon-woo. And he's actually one of 4 members of the group who stepped in front of the camera in 2021. Alongside his band members San, Songhwa, and Jungho, he took on one of the main roles in the idol drama Imitation. And fairly recently, he returned to the small screens for a 20-minute music film called Backstage. I love actor Yuno. Imitation was his first drama, and he sold the role like he had been doing it for years. To me, he was not just an idol portraying another idol in front of a camera. There was something more to it. I mean, his experience surely helped to sell his debut role this convincingly, but I think he's capable of more, and I am really curious as to what he's got. And while we're still here, let's also talk about Jungho. Much like San and Songhwa, he also took on a support role in Imitation, and that's exactly why I need to see more of him. And I'm not saying that because I might or might not be biased in the most literal sense of the word. Jungho was conveniently cast as the maknae of the fictional group Shax in the drama, given the fact that he is also ATEEZ's maknae in real life. But he has grown and matured so much since then. And his performances in his solo music videos like Everything, To Be Your Light, or Tell Me That You Love Me only gave us glimpses of what he is capable of and what it would look like if he would star in a romance drama. Both him and Yuno are still very active with ATEEZ, so I'm not expecting any huge projects in the near future, but a girl can dream, right? And since Imitation was a drama about idols, starring many idols, there's even one more person that I want to talk about. No, not Chani from SF9. I want to talk about that guy. Lee Jun-young had joined U-KISS in 2014 and left the group 2021 when his contract expired, and by that time, it was already pretty clear that acting had become his main lane. And apparently he's one of those people who does not shy away from a challenging or controversial role. Love in Leashes, for instance. A BDSM office romance film most idols would have just quietly passed on. But he said, hey yo, let's go! And yes, I've seen it, and yes, I absolutely loved it. He also became a walking meme with his iconic line from The Impossible Air.
Hello, my sister. Long time no see.
And other than that, you might know him from dramas like Milo Movie, Brave Citizen, or When Life Gives You Tangerines. And if you're one of those people who are not deep into the K-drama world but have a Netflix subscription and you have been going, why does he look so familiar? Let me present to you Park Jin's right-hand man, the Wolf from Weak Hero Class 2. Personally, I had no idea about his U-KISS past, and he's one of those actors who just keeps popping up because he stars in so many dramas, and I keep forgetting that he was an idol. Other than that, I think he's really good at what he does. That psychopath laugh alone from Weak Hero still haunts me. And since we're talking about Weak Hero class, I think it's pretty obvious who's next. If you have somewhat been at home in the K-drama world, there is no way you have not at least seen one edit of the brooding, closed-off high school student who just wanted to study in peace but ended up in more high school fights than some people have relationships. Park Ji-hoon had a whole idol career before becoming Yeon Shi-in. He went on the second season of the survival show Produce 101 and ended up as one of 11 members of the group 101. If you have seen my Idols turned KBL actors video already, that's the same group that Yoon Ji-sung was the leader of. I also made another video on just Park Ji-hoon and his whole career so far, so if you're interested, feel free to check that out as well. Back to 101, the group debuted in 2017, had a fixed contract for 1.5 years, and disbanded in 2019. Park Ji-hoon stayed active as a solo artist ever since, and he also decided to try out and focus more on acting. And somewhere along the lines, he went on to become Yeon Shi-in, a role that has gained him visibility, especially internationally. But those 2 seasons are by far not his only acting credits. His portfolio includes, among others, Love Revolution, Flower Crew, Chosun Marriage Agency, At a Distance Spring is Green, and the most recent film The King's Warden, and the series Legend of Kitchen Soldier. I personally like him much more as an actor than an idol. He's a great singer, don't get me wrong. He's just an outstanding and exceptional actor in my eyes. I feel like he's one of those people you don't come across very often in the entertainment business. I am 100% convinced that he has been working hard like everyone else, on and off screen. But hard work and dedication sometimes will only get you so far, and I feel like that man was born to do what he does. Moving on, but still riding comfortably on the 101 train, up next is Hwang Min-yeon. Like I already mentioned, Hwang Min-yeon was also a member of 101, but he was also the lead vocalist and visual of New East at the same time. Except for that 1.5 years that 101 lasted, Hwang Min-yeon had been very active with the group from 2012 until their disbandment in 2022. So by the time he enlisted, he had been through 2 group disbandments already, and he had also started to focus on acting as well. You might know him from dramas like Alchemy of Souls or My Lovely Liar, but his most notable role had to be one of the main roles from the 2025 drama Study Group. Study Group immediately went through the roofs and it was critically acclaimed. And after watching it, I completely understand why. I watched all 10 episodes in one go, finishing somewhere around 3 AM in the morning, and I go, so when's the new season dropping? At least once every other week. Hwang Min-yeon was discharged from the military in the end of 2025, and so he is free to take on other projects, and as for me, I cannot wait for it. He is one of those underdogs, one of the more underrated actors that you just don't see coming until you realize that you are once more way too invested in the lives of fictional people. Moving on to another Produce 101 story, but this time we're talking about the first season. Just like Hwang Min-yeon, Kang Min-ah also used to be a member of 2 groups, Gugudan and IOI. IOI is the group that formed through the first season of Produce 101, and the group debuted in 2016. They had their 10-year anniversary pretty recently, but Kang Min-ah did not participate due to her acting schedule. So while IOI is still somewhat around, Gugudan disbanded in 2022, despite a very strong lineup, but there was inconsistency in promotions, for instance, and other issues that led to the group being let down fairly quickly. So Kang Min-ah had been focused on acting for quite some time now, and honestly, her record shows. You might know her from dramas like Hotel de Luna, My Roommate is Sukumiyo, Welcome to Samdalri, Cafe Minamdang, Love Untangled, or Netflix's most recent If Wishes Could Kill. She and her acting skills don't necessarily have me glued to the screen, but I always get so happy when I see her. She just fits so naturally into whatever world she is placed in, and I think that makes her a really good actress. And now, before we finish this video, here is my honorable mention as promised. I am talking about Kim Ji-seok and Lee Jae-yeon. Both don't have many acting credits to their names so far, especially Ji-seok, because so far this has been his only role. He is one of 3 members and the maknae of the boy group Big Ocean. If you don't know them yet, I highly recommend you check them out, because all 3 members are actually either deaf or hard of hearing, and they try to make music inclusive. For instance, by including sign language into their choreos, among many other things. And that's why Chisok was so perfect for the role. He portrays a student who is hard of hearing himself, and he just wants to be seen as who he is and not reduced to what he does differently. Together with Lee Chae-yeon, a former member of Eyes On, who is currently active as a solo artist, they make up the main leads of the short web drama Let's Dance. Do yourselves a favor and treat yourself to that drama. It's available on YouTube, and it is short but heartfelt, and it brings across a very, very important message. And that's actually a wrap. I know there are many idols turned actors out there, and if you want me to cover any other names, feel free to drop them in the comments. But the real question is, did I actually surprise you with any of these? Or have you been here since the first season of Produce 101?